Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 381st Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. During the course of this battle, I'd like to talk to you about the 6 stages of fitness on Rome Total War. Now, what I mean by that is fresh, warmed up, winded, tired, very tired and exhausted. And just to show you how when troops get tired, very tired and exhausted, how their battle proficiency and their morale drops. Okay, so of course if the battle proficiency drops, then they're going to suffer a lot of casualties, and if their morale is low as well, then they're very susceptible to routing. So it's kind of a bit of a double whammy. So this is kind of a bit of a cautionary tale about fighting with troops that are tired, very tired and exhausted. If you fight with those troops in those conditions, then the chances are that your whole army could mass rout. As I say, when they're tired, very tired or exhausted, their battle performance drops. They don't fight very well, and as I say, with low morale, the casualties that they suffer can make them kind of rout. So, as I say, this is kind of a bit of a cautionary tale about fighting with exhausted or very tired troops. Okay, right. Our first teammate is Brotherhood member Steve Longshanks, who has bought the Carthage faction. Okay, and let's see what he's got. He's got 16 spear units and 3 Balearic slingers. Usually he brings mixed upgrades. Let's have a look. Okay, I see on these units he's got 8 upgrades. So that's 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack, which makes those already elite units even more elite. So that's 8 upgrades on those units, and my guess he's probably got a couple of units with maybe 7 on, possibly. There you go, and he's got some units with 7 upgrades on. So that's an experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack. So that's well upgraded spearmen there, and 3 Balearic slingers. But he's got no cavalry. Okay, so he's obviously built this army for a particular reason, probably to fight another spear or pike army there. But he has no cavalry. But that's a pretty good Carthage army. The next teammate is Brotherhood member Mad King, who has bought the Brutii faction. So he's got 13 infantry units, 1 archer unit. Let's have a look at the upgrades on his infantry. Yeah, I think he's just got gold shield, gold attack. Yeah, 6 upgrades. So he's just got gold shield, gold attack on those infantry there. I noticed that he's actually got infantry general. If we look at the upgrades on that general there, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so he's got a fully upgraded infantry general. Now remember, the urban cohorts are elite units in their own right, but to fully upgrade them makes them incredibly tough, and that unit will be difficult to kill there. Also, I see he's got an eagle unit as well. So with the eagle unit and his infantry general, there's a lot of morale going on there for his infantry. So that's a nice little infantry army there, and I see he's got 6 cavalry. Let's have the upgrades on his cavalry. And I see he's just got 6 upgrades. So he's just got gold shield, gold attack on his cavalry there. So that's a pretty good army. Be interesting to see how well it does during the course of the battle. Okay, our next teammate is myself, Spartan Commander, who has bought the Rome SPQR faction. And yes, I've got my 10-year-old army once again, about 12 infantry and 6 cavalry. I like to bring my old armies to the modern day battlefield, see how good they do against good modern players. And our 4th teammate is Brotherhood member Mystique, who has bought the Macedon faction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that Mystique has got 10 pikes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 10 pike units there. And let's have a look at the upgrades on those pike units. Okay, so just 6 upgrades. So just gold shield, gold attack. Now Macedon morale, as we know, is not very good. So I would always put an experience stripe on my pike units there, as we know that, as I say, the morale is not very good. But I see Mystique has just got gold shield, gold attack on those units. And 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think it's got 6 long-range Cretan archers. Now I'd like to draw your attention to the upgrades on these Cretan archers. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 9 upgrades. So these Cretan archers, which are already elite long-range archers, are now fully upgraded. So it's unusual to see archers fully upgraded. So that's a lot of archer power there. As I say, fully upgraded. And I see Mystique, I think it's got 4 cavalry units there. Yeah, 4 cavalry, but as Mystique has spent so much money on archers, I don't know if these will have that great upgrades. 7 upgrades. So an experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack there on those companion cavalry. So that's not a bad Macedon army there. But as I say, it's not having a stripe on those pikemen there, bearing in mind that morale is pretty low. We'll just have to see how that goes during the course of the battle. So there's our team. Should be a great one for you to watch. And here is the other team. We have Brotherhood member Trajan, who has bought the Greek cities faction. See, look at their army there. I see, I think it's 15 spears, 14 of them Spartans, and 1 armoured hoplite there, and 4, or is it 5 Cretan archers. So have a look at the upgrades now. If you notice the upgrades on the spearmen here, can you see he's only got 3 upgrades? So I don't know whether that would be attack or defence on those particular spearmen there. 3, maybe 3 defense, or 3 attack, or maybe a mixture of both. And I see that his kind of main army there of 8 Spartans there. I think they've got 6 upgrades, so they got gold shield, gold attack there. Okay, so that's a pretty unusual army. Now, in the old days, we always used to fight Spartans in a tight formation. Okay, I see he's got a small 8-man formation there, but can you see how he's got these other units out and about here? Now, those units there are to protect his archers from cavalry attack, but I've got a feeling he's going to use those Spartans kind of in a bit of a loose way around the battlefield there, and he's still got those 8-man main army there, if you see what I mean. So it's kind of a newer way of playing with the Greek cities there. As I say, the old-fashioned way is to have them grouped, and kind of when you attack like as a full army, as like a punch into the enemy there. So that'll be interesting to see how well that Greek cities army does. Our next teammate is a clan member, RV Corndog. Okay, RV Corndog, and he's bought the Germania faction. Now, what I'd like to draw your attention to here is he's got 6 archers here. And I see he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 upgrades. So I'm thinking probably attack, 3 attack, 2 defense there maybe. Now remember, those archers, long range, do a lot of damage, and they're so tough that you can use them as light infantry when they run out of arrows. But that's a lot of archer power there. So I'm interested to see how well he does with them. I see he's got 3 of the spear units. Now, you don't very often see these on the 31k battlefield because their morale's pretty low and their specifications aren't that good either. So that's interesting units to bring. I think he's got 2 peasant units. Now, remember, those peasant units can soak up missiles of any type as good as any other expensive unit as long as they stand their ground. Okay. Right, now, at the back here, you can see his cavalry, his Gothic cavalry, but if you look closer, you can see an old-fashioned tactic here that was used in the early days of Rome Total War. You might see his 4 Gothic cavalry, but can you see any other units amongst that cavalry kind of hidden? Okay, so there's 4 cavalry there, but you might not be able to see units there, the other units there, but there's 4 Gothic cavalry, and if you look at the upgrades on that cavalry, you'll see that they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They've got 8 upgrades, 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. Okay, so these Gothic cavalry have got great specifications anyway, and with those upgrades, that's going to make them even better. So those cavalry are pretty good. But can you see the 2 hidden units there? I should imagine you can, and that's the 2 berserker units. Sorry, the 3 berserker units he's got hidden within his cavalry. In the old days, people used to hide their berserker units within the cavalry, hoping that the enemy would look at Germania and not see those hidden berserker units and not realise they were there. Okay, those berserker units have got effective against armour maces, they've got 2 hit points and really excellent attacking specifications. And they bring a fear factor as well that lower the morale of enemy troops. So that's an interesting Germania army there. And it'll be interesting to see how well it does. I see he's only got 4 cavalry there though. So it'll be interesting to see how well that, as I say, how well that does. Okay, their next teammate is Brotherhood member Mars, who's bought the Rome Julii faction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. She's got 14 infantry there, and I'm guessing 6 cavalry. So he's got the bog standard Rome Total War 31k army there. I see that his general unit's got 8 upgrades on, 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack, but the rest of his units looks like they just got gold shield, gold attack on. And his cavalry, yep, just 6 upgrades, gold shield, gold attack. So to say, newer players to Rome Total War, if you play 31k battles, this is the bog standard Roman army, 14 infantry, 6 cavalry. Very effective, very efficient. That's why it's so popular and used so much. Okay, so that's a pretty good army. And their 4th teammate is Brotherhood member Lando, who has bought the Scipii faction. Now straight away you can see that this is kind of a bit of a custom army he's bought here with 6 archers. Okay, they've got 6 upgrades, so they've got gold shield, gold attack for his archers. And he's got 8 just 8 infantry. Okay, have a look at the upgrades, and he's just got gold shield, gold attack on his infantry. Okay, so as you can see, 8 infantry, very low amount of infantry in the modern day battlefield, and he's just got 5 cavalry. But if you look at the upgrades on his cavalry, can you see that he's got 8 upgrades? So that's 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. Now, the Praetorian cavalry are elite units anyway, but to put 8 upgrades on makes them kind of super elite. Okay, so can you think why he might have bought this kind of custom built army here? Okay, also he's got the old school armoured cavalry general there. Now up to about 8 years ago, maybe 8 or 9 years ago, we always used to bring this unit as our general, but about that time we switched to an infantry general. If you look at the upgrades there, 5, 6, 7, you can see he's got 8 upgrades on that unit. 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, that's 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. Now he's already got hit points and good defense on that unit, so put those upgrades on too, and that makes it incredibly tough there. But can you think why he's bought this custom army? A fast moving general and 6 good archers there, and only 8 infantry. Can you think about who he's fighting? Okay, so he is facing Macedon. Now remember, those 120 man units are extremely susceptible to any damage by missiles. So you can see there that he's got 6 archers to cause damage, and he's got a fast moving cavalry to try and take out any of their archers as well. So make no mistake, this is a custom army that Lando's built here to be to do the most damage he can towards those Macedon units there, hopefully weakening them with his archers and hitting their archers with his fast moving cavalry unit. And that's also, see the Germanic 6 archers there? You imagine the damage they could do to Macedon if they could get in range. So Macedon here is going to have to play very tactically, or they're going to lose a lot of troops to archer fire, I think. Should be a good one for you to watch. Okay, at this stage of the battle, both Lando and Mars are very aggressive players here, and what I'm thinking here is these two may well team up to try and take on Mystique's Macedon units here. Okay, as I say, they're both very aggressive. You see, I bought my cavalry units over there to support Mystique if Mystique needs it, but I got a feeling that both Lando and Mars here may well target our Macedon ally. Should be interesting to see. Okay, at this very, very early stage of the battle here, straight away you can see that Lando's bringing his fast-moving cavalry unit over here, as we said, to target the Macedonian archers there. So that's a nice aggressive move there. We knew Lando would be aggressive right from the beginning here, and that's exactly what he's been doing there, using that fast-moving, really difficult-to-kill general unit there to harass and harangue Mystique's archers. A nice aggressive move there. Now if you notice, he's moving his Scipio archers forward as well, because what he'd like to do is to get those Macedon cavalry in range. Let's just pause the game for a second. So as I say, he's brought those archers against there. Now if he can get them to maybe attack his general unit there and bring his archers forward, he could cause massive casualties to the enemy cavalry there without suffering hardly probably any casualties to his fast moving armor unit there. So that's why those archers are being brought across there, probably to target those Macedon cavalry if they come into range. Nice tactical aggressive move there by Lando. As I say, he'd love those Macedon cavalry to attack his general unit now, because he knows his general unit will probably hold its ground and he can inflict big casualties with his own archers. Okay, you can see Mystique has tried to protect the archers there by moving them into the pikes there, but you can see Lando's fast moving cavalry unit going to hit those archers again. Look, very aggressive, and bang as he charges in there. See, this is old school use of armoured cavalry generals. Conan, the co-founder of the Brotherhood, excellent use of those. Uther, excellent use of those old school cavalry general there. Nice to see on the modern day battlefield. Okay, let's pause the game for a second here. So you can see here, Mars is moving across as well, and say Lando's already across here. So it wouldn't surprise me if they tried to target Macedon. That's why I've moved my SPQR troops over there. Right, if you notice over on our left flank and left centre, can you see Steve is now moving his spearmen down to our flank. He's brought that Carthage army to try and neutralise the Greek cities army there. That's why he's brought that army there with no cavalry. It's all good quality spearmen there to fight the Greek cities. They say Mad King there looks like he's going to face either Germania or Greek cities there, but that's a good combination of Steve and Mad King's troops there against Germania and the Greek cities. But as I say, meanwhile over here on the right, as we thought right from the very beginning here, Lando and Mars going to be very aggressive. So this is where I think the battle's actually going to kick off here. As I say, those big 120-man Macedon units there are extremely susceptible to any missile damage, and that's why Lando's got his archers. Notice in close formation, so they've got more impact to do more damage. And you can see the volume of arrows going into Mystique's units there. As I say, Lando being very, very aggressive there, and using his generals to great effect at trying to kind of harass and harangue our Macedon ally there, not letting Mystique put the archers where Mystique wants to try and counter those Scipio archers there, because every time Mystique moves those archers forward, obviously Lando smashes into them with his cavalry general. And if you notice there, he's done a heck of a lot of damage with that cavalry general and hasn't suffered a single casualty. That's how tough those armoured cavalry units are, those general armoured cavalry units are there. Let's just pause the game for a second. So as you can see here, Steve's, as I say, got his units there to try and neutralise Greek cities. But Mad King here has been using his cavalry to try and take out those Cretan archers. Okay, there's still a lot of Cretan archers left, and he seems to have suffered quite a few casualties with his cavalry there as well. But I think he was probably trying to target the Cretan archers there, as probably tried like to have targeted those Germanic archers there as well. But seeing how they don't seem to have suffered any casualties there, then I think that he seems to have lost a few cavalry there, but maybe he might have weakened a few of the Cretan archers there. But as I say, you see Steve running his units back there towards us. Now if you notice here, can you see that the two enemy armies down here, Julii Red and Scipio Blue, are getting a little bit isolated from their allies? And what I'm thinking is, if Steve and Mad King bring their armies down here, maybe we could isolate these two and take them out. Okay, you can see them getting a little bit isolated here. As I say, Mars and Lando, they don't hold back. They are very aggressive, as we've said before. See Mystique charging a cavalry unit into... I think it's going to charge into one of the Julii units there. Yep, charges that in. I think Mystique tried to bring a cavalry unit over there to try and take out those Scipii cavalry, but that unit was captured, hit by Scipii cavalry there. But as you can see, Lando moving his 8 infantry forward there, probably with a view to throw loads of pilers into Mystique's already weakened pike units. As I say, remember those 120-man pike units? Yes, they're 120 men, but they are extremely susceptible to missile damage. See Lando charging that general cavalry unit in again, trying to take out as many archers as he can to weaken the archer defence that Macedon's bought. Very, very aggressive here. Okay, let's just pause the game for a second. So as you can see here, Steve's running his spearmen down from the other flank. Can you see his units are tired? You can see Mad King moving his units over as well. So what we're trying to do here is trying to get maybe a 4v2 here. Germania's stuck up there as well as the Greek cities. They're a long way away from their allies. So if we're quick, if all 4 of us hit both Lando and Mars, we might be able to isolate them enough to take them out before their allies can get down to us. Okay, that's what we're looking to do here, I think, if we're quick enough. You can see here Steve's moving his slingers down there as well. He's been probably causing Germania a few casualties with those slingers. But as I say here, you can see Lando with his blue Scipio army being extremely aggressive, as well as Mars's red Julii army here. Now Lando's got that close, so he can throw his pilers in there. The closer, obviously, he gets, the more damage he's probably going to do. It wouldn't surprise me if, there you are, look, those pilers are raining in on those very susceptible to missile damage 120-man units there. Okay, so Mystique is being weakened by archer and pilot fire there as well. See Mystique charging the cavalry in there, and bang, as that Macedon companion cavalry charges into those moving Scipio units here. Now it wouldn't surprise me if Lando's bought that infantry and cavalry round the flank here a bit more. If he bought some infantry units round in front of his cavalry, bearing in mind that all we've got over here is cavalry. Obviously we don't want to tangle with infantry if we can help it with our cavalry here, but it wouldn't surprise me if he bought, as I say, infantry and cavalry round this flank here, with infantry at the front to try and blunt any cavalry attack we put in. Can you see I was going to charge my cavalry forward there, but I see all that infantry and cavalry backing up there, so I've pulled my cavalry back. But there, as you see, as I said earlier, can you see he's moving infantry forward in front of his cavalry, so the infantry would blunt any cavalry attack we try to put in there. Nice tactical move there by Lando. So the only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my cavalry back a little bit. You can see Mad King's green Brutii cavalry there are being hit by those enemy Scipii cavalry and infantry. If you notice, Mystique has brought my pike units over there to try and help. But if you notice, I've just pulled my cavalry back a little bit, locked and loaded, and I'm ready to charge in. Right, can you see I've pulled the trigger and I'm charging in now to those Scipii infantry there. Bang, as my cavalry charges in there, hoping to cause casualties and rout some of those Scipii units, obviously with that cavalry hit there. Right, we've done a good job. Now what I'm going to do is push on through with my cavalry. Notice I just didn't stop there, I'm pushing on through with my SPQR cavalry there. You can see here, you can see Mad King's Brutii troops are closing in on the enemy armies here that, as I say, are a little bit isolated. Now what Steve's doing here with his spear army there is trying to be a blocker. He's trying to block the Greek cities and maybe even Germania from coming down to us, allowing our the three of us to take on the two enemy armies down there. So Steve's doing a good job through blocking there with those with that spear army of his against the Greek cities and Germania. Okay, now that's going to free us up, free the three of us up here to try and take out Mars and Lando. As you can see here, that cavalry attack I put in there has managed to rout a lot of the enemy, and we have now routed Lando's cavalry general. Okay, so obviously his troops now are going to lose the morale bonus they were getting from that cavalry general, so that was a good move. I notice all the time the Greek city's moving down, but Steve's still acting as a good blocker there with his Carthage Sacred Band spearmen, trying to give us time to concentrate on taking out Mars and Lando. Okay, here over here you can see Mad King with his green Brutii troops charging in to Mars's red Julii troops, and Mars has also charged there. So as you can see, both armies charged in at once. But the thing for me, I'm a little bit worried about for Mad King is Germania. Now remember those four upgraded cavalry there, the Germanic cavalry there with 8 upgrades, and if they smash into his rear, that could cause some real problems there. But as I say, notice Steve still being a blocker there with his spears against Greek cities. As I say here, you can see I moved my army forward to support Macedon, but I think most of Lando's army has now been taken out. Can you see most of Lando's army have been routed at this stage? So what we're going to try and do now, we're going to try and take out Mars's Julii army there. If we can take out Mars's Julii army, then that would be great. We've taken out both Lando and Mars. So that's what we're going to concentrate on now. Okay, can you see me move my SBQR infantry forward with Macedonian pikes, and my allies' Macedonian pikes there, try and concentrate on those Julii troops there. Right, can you see those Julii cavalry charging in there into Mad King? Let's just pause again for a second. Okay, you can see here Mars is charging his cavalry into Mad King's infantry there, and also Mad King's got Germanic cavalry coming in from behind. Now remember that Germanic cavalry's got 8 upgrades, really good specifications, so poor old Mad King's being sandwiched here like a vice attack here from both Julii and Germanic factions there. As I say, Steve's still doing a good job of blocking the enemy there, but his troops are very tired. Okay, remember he's doing a good job of blocking the Greek cities there, but because of all the running around he's doing, his troops are very tired, 1 stage off of exhaustion. Okay, can you see my cavalry over here on the right flank? Now what would you do with my cavalry at this stage of the battle? Do you think I should maybe go around the rear of the enemy troops there, maybe team up with my Brutii allies cavalry there and get him behind the enemy troops there? Is that something that you would think about doing? So we get in behind the engaged troops. That might be a good plan to do that. Bring my cavalry round there, link up with my Brutii ally, and then charge into the rear of the engaged enemy troops. That might be a good plan, I think. That probably would be the best bet. So bring my cavalry round there and charge into the rear of those engaged troops. That's probably the plan to do there. Okay, let's see what I'm going to do. So as you can see there, moving my troops, looks like I'm going to get in behind the enemy troops there. If you notice here, I'm also attacking with my SBQR army. Now what am I going to do? I'm going to get right behind. No, I'm going to charge into the rear of those engaged Julii troops. Can you see the Julii general's just been routed? So I'm going to smash into those other Julii units that are still engaged, hopefully rout them. Okay, so just pause the game for a second here. So as you can see, I've charged into the rear of those engaged Julii troops to take them out. I'm also pressing forward with my infantry as well. You can see Mad King there with his cavalry. Looks like he's going to charge into the rear of those Julii troops. But as you can see, Mad King's Brutii army are really sandwiched there between really well upgraded Germanic cavalry plus a berserker unit coming into the fray as well, and Mars's aggressive Julii attack straight onto Mad King as well. So Mad King's in a really difficult position over there. So what am I going to do with my cavalry? Am I going to smash into that and then maybe take my cavalry round there and join up with his cavalry to charge into the rear of those Julii troops? Is that what you would do? Now pull your cavalry out of that attack and join up with Brutii and go into the rear. That might be the best thing to do there. As I say, Steve's very tired troops there, but he's doing a good job of blocking that main Greek city's army. As I say, he's been the blocker for the team there in holding off the Greek cities there to allow us to try and take out Mars and Lando. Okay, because you can see my cavalry there charging in. So what I'm going to do with my cavalry, I've decided here, just going to pull back from my allies' pikes a little bit there before I don't want to suffer any friendly kills there. But now I'm going to charge straight on through into the rear of those Julii troops, and bang as my cavalry charges in there. Straight into the rear of those engaged Julii troops, hoping to rout those Julii troops, or what we've done. Okay, so that was a hammer and anvil attack. Mad King's army being the anvil and my cavalry being the hammer there. And as you can see there, we have now routed all the Julii troops there. That berserker unit is still fighting Mad King's Brutii army there, and those Germanic cavalry are still charging there. But we've managed to rout both Mars and Lando's army now. So that part of the battle is just what we wanted to do. As you can see, all of Lando's army has been routed, and now all of Mars's army, I think, has been routed as well. Okay, but there's that berserker unit still fighting Mad King's infantry there, and we've got that Germanic cavalry that keeps coming in attacking. He keeps pulling that cavalry back, reloading, pulling the trigger, charging back in. But as you can you see Steve's units are very tired. That's one stage off of exhausted. Okay, so his troops there, if he tries to put them into combat, their battle efficiency will be extremely low and their morale will be extremely low. He's done an excellent job at blocking the Greek cities from coming into the battle there, but his troops are nearly exhausted. Okay, notice here that the Germanic archers here are really punishing Steve. Every time Steve's moving there, he's getting hit by fire arrows from those Germanic archers in close range, and I think the Germanic general still got two berserkers back. He's holding back there. But at the moment here, as we say, we've done well at routing both Mars and Lando's army, but that berserker unit backed up by that Germanic cavalry could be a problem. I think Mad King lost a lot of infantry in that particular battle as well, because remember, he was sandwiched between the enemy Julii army and those Germanic cavalry. Okay, say those berserkers are being a bit of a nuisance there. So what I would like to do there, if I could charge in with my cavalry, you see my cavalry there, I've pulled them back, locked and loaded, ready to pull the trigger. Okay, pull the trigger there, charge them straight into that berserker unit. I've moved my infantry in there as well, and bang! That berserker unit probably just disappear. There you go. As the last of the berserker there was just killed there. Steve, as I say, is still acting as a blocking force there. Can't emphasise what a good job he's done there in blocking the Greek cities, but as I say, his troops are very tired, one stage off of exhausted. Right now, can you see here, we're up against just Greek cities and Germania. Okay, so we've got our Macedon units, our Brutii units there, and my army there as well, to take on just Greek cities and Germania. Alright, so this should be now, I think, probably a bit of a short battle, as we've got all our troops here to try and take them out. As I say, Steve's troops are very tired. I wouldn't want to see them put into combat now. Just maybe rest them, as I say, because as I say, their battle proficiency will be extremely low and their morale will be low as well. There's a couple of rallied Mars's Julii units charging in there now, but their morale will be low. You'll find that rallied units, because they've been battle depleted and their morale will be lower, they'll just rout like he just did there. Steve's still moving his spear units around there to try and cover us from the Greek cities. Right, let's just pause the game here for a second. Look at a tactical and strategic plan here for the battle. Okay, so Steve's going to face Greek cities. Now, what we're going to do now is try and tackle both, obviously, Greek cities and Germania. So what do you think the best tactic for tackling Germania would be? Bearing in mind that he's still got 2 berserker units up there, he's still got those archers in tight formation, and he's still got his 4, oh no, he's got what, he's got 5, 1, 2, I think he's got 5 cavalry units there with good upgrades on, and I say he's got those spear units there as well. So maybe it might be a good idea to try and move Macedon forward there with the pikes, so that if the berserker are launched, as we know, berserkers and barbarian troops would die quickly on pikes, so maybe moving the pikes forward might be a good idea with Mad King's units just behind them there. But unfortunately those archers are really punishing Mystique's pikemen there. I mean, those are 120 man units down to 30 odd. So those archer units are really punishing that those Macedon pikemen. As I say, Steve there is facing Greek cities. So what I can see that Steve's units are very tired, and as I say, preferably you don't want to put them into combat. So what I'm thinking here is if Mystique's Macedon units and Mad King's Brutio units move off towards Germany, then maybe my SBQR troops I could leave with Steve there to try and help him combat Greek cities. Okay, but as I say, the problem for Mystique is that those 120 man units are getting absolutely punished by those close order Germanic archers there. So we'll just have to see how Mystique and Mad King are going to go about trying to take out Germania. As I say, my SBQR troops there, I think the best thing for them is to try and help Steve here, because as I say, look, his troops are very tired, one step off of exhaustion there. And preferably he doesn't want to get into battle. I reckon those Greek cities are just going to be warmed up, or maybe even fresh, against very tired troops. So as you can see, I can see the danger here with Steve's units against Greek cities. So I'm moving my whole SBQR army over to try and help Steve here if he gets into a combat situation. Let's just pause the game for a second. So if you notice there, can you see those Greek city units are just winded? But Steve's are very tired. As I say, one step off of being exhausted. So their battle proficiency would drop, their morale a drop. It's a double whammy, because they're not going to be fighting very well, they're going to lose more troops. If they lose more troops, because their morale is low, then they could rout, and they could mass rout. Okay? But as I say, I can see the danger, so I'm moving my SBQR army over to help Steve against Greek cities there, and leaving Mad King and Mystique to maybe go off and try and take out Germania there. But as I say, it's a very big call here, because those archers are really causing mistakes. Remember that, as I say, there's 120 man units. You can see how battle depleted those units are, being hit by those archers. So here you can see that probably Trajan with his Greek city units there has spotted that Steve's troops are now exhausted. Okay, so Steve's troops are on the 6th fitness bar there, which is absolutely exhausted. Okay, so under no circumstances really should you try and fight with exhausted or very tired troops. As I say, their battle efficiency will be extremely low, their morale is rock bottom because they're so exhausted, and because their battle proficiency is not very good, they're going to lose loads of troops against those warmed up Greek cities, and Steve will find that a lot of his troops will probably start to rout. So that's why I'm moving my SBQR troops over there. Where you can see that our Macedon ally here is moving pikes there towards those enemy spearmen. So that's exactly what's happening there. And you can see here Mad King moving his Brutii army towards Germania. Now, if any berserker units are there, and don't forget those cavalry units there as well, maybe it might have been a good idea for the Macedon units, pike units there, to move towards Germania, and Mad King to move his units towards the other Germania part there where their spearmen are. So if you see what I mean, those Macedon pikemen would be able to deal with berserkers and cavalry, whereas battle depleted units of Mad Kings, if they get hit, and I think his units are tired as well, that they're tired as well, if they get hit by cavalry, see that cavalry coming in there, wouldn't surprise me if they routed on impact. Bang, as that cavalry goes in, see that Brutio unit routed on impact there. Now it wouldn't surprise me if the Germanic general started to think about sending in a berserker unit as well, maybe both berserker units against Mad King's depleted army. You can see Mad King really has got a depleted. Let's pause the game for a second. Right, so the Germanic general now has activated his 2 berserker units. Can you see these guys are going to be intimidated by nearby enemy troops? So don't forget, those berserkers bring a big fear factor, and that Brutio army could mass rout with the berserker hit, and I'm sure that Germanic general are banging another cavalry hit as well. my SBQR troops, cavalry there, I'm going to bring across to try and neutralise that Germanic cavalry there. Meanwhile, here you can see that Mystique is taking those pikes over to attack those Germanic spearmen there. But all the time the archers will be shooting in there. Right, you can see here I've engaged with my SBQR troops here. Obviously I don't want to take on spearmen head on. I'd like to get units around the rear. But Steve here is, as I say, is very tired troops and exhausted troops are up against warmed up Greek city units here. So as I say, I'd like to take my SBQR units around the rear of those Greek cities if I could. But we'll just have to watch and see what happens up here on our right flank, because I think the Berserker and cavalry hit here on our Brutii ally could prove maybe a pivotal part of the battle here. And bang, as those Berserkers go in, and that cavalry as well. You can start another cavalry hit going in. Bang! Bang! And another one too. So as you can see here, Mad King's army was already battle depleted and was very tired anyway. And with that Berserker and cavalry hit, Mad King's army has now been taken out. Okay, now those Berserkers are head down to the nearest enemy unit, which is of course Macedon. There now, Mystique's army there is now going to get hit by Germanic Berserkers and probably Germanic cavalry. You can see I've charged my SBQR cavalry over there to try and neutralise those Germanic cavalry there. But all the time my cavalry now is being targeted by those archers. A lot of those archers are targeting my cavalry there. But also a lot of those archers are still targeting Mystique's Macedon units there as well. Meanwhile, here against the Greek cities, you can see I'm trying to take units around behind the engaged Greek city units here, as well as trying to hold them at the front. Remember, you pin and hold pike and spear units at the front where you get units in behind them, which is what I'm trying to do here. But I can see a lot of Steve's Carthage Sacred Band are starting to rout. Okay, I think that Steve's general's just been taken out now. So remember, they were all already very tired or exhausted. And with his general gone now, can you see most of those Carthaginian troops are now routing. Okay, so remember, when you get exhausted, very tired, if possible, try not to commit your troops to fighting, because as I say, all their morale is low and their battlefield performance is very low as well. As I say here with my SBQR troops trying to get in behind those Greek city units there, but as I say, Steve's units have just been routed there. You can see the Berserker units here still attacking Macedon. You've got some Germanic cavalry in there as well. So as I say, things maybe not looking very good for our team at this stage of the battle. Okay, so I think Steve's got 2 of his units left. One Carthaginian unit left. Right, okay, all our Macedon allies units have now been routed. With my battle depleted cavalry, I've been trying to take out the Germanic cavalry, archers there that have been pummeling our units all the way through the battle. But as I say, so that's all of Mad King's Brutii troops now, and all of Mystique's troops have now been taken out. All of Steve's units, I think, have now been routed, and it's just my SBQR infantry that's left now against the Greek cities and those Germanic Berserkers. As I say, I'd like to get units in behind those Greek cities there, but I think looking at the way the enemy are here, I just think that maybe the writing's on the wall here for our troops. As I say, once those Berserkers come down and get involved, as I say, I'm still trying to take units out behind those Greek cities there to try and get in behind them, but there's a lot of Spartan units there. A lot of Spartan units still there, and as I say, once those Berserkers start heading down this way, we could be in real trouble. So as you see, I'm still trying to pin and hold with some of my SBQR units while I get other units in behind those Spartan units there. But as I say, I think there's so many Spartan units there, and they're in thick formation as well. Not a lot to do. And can you see those 2 Berserker units running down towards my SBQR units there? See those 2 Berserker units you're going to hit there? And bang, as they charge into that SBQR unit there. Look how big they are in comparison to the Roman troops, and look what damage they can do, how they smash the troops up in the air. Look at that. Those SBQR troops aren't going to take that very long before they rout. There you go. And now those SBQR troops are going to go into the rear of my engaged troops there, which are going to rout those as well, because that's a hammer and anvil attack. The Greek cities being the anvil and the Berserkers certainly being the hammer there. My general's just been routed. As I say, I'm still trying to hit into the rear of those Greek city units the best I can there, but unfortunately I think most of my my army is going to be routed there as well. I think I might have one unit left fighting there, I think, and that'll be I think that'll be routed quite soon as well. There, I see the berserker units. They head for the nearest enemy units there, and that's I think all my infantry has now been routed. So really well done to the enemy there. Good battle there. Well played, guys. I've still got some battle depleted cavalry that I'm taking around the battlefield there, but my guess is I'll probably admit soon, because there's no way we're going to obviously we're going to win this battle now. So really well played to the enemy team. Well done, guys. Let's say just admitting defeat there. I'd just like to draw your attention here to remember where Steve's exhausted and very tired troops are fighting Spartans are. Can you see the amount of casualties that the Carthage Sacred Band has in comparison to those Spartans? What's there? There's about 30 dead Spartans there, that's all. But look at the dead of Carthage. See, this is why I wanted to show you this battle. If your troops are tired, very tired or exhausted, see, loads of Carthage, they're dead without even maybe one Spartan unit around there. But that's the thing, you see, Steve was doing a great job of blocking, and really all he could do is commit his troops to those Spartans towards the end of the battle there. But as I say, if you fight when you're exhausted or very tired, that's the problem. Okay, so it was an average defeat. I thought it might have been a bit more of maybe a decisive defeat or something like that. So well done to the enemy team. Just like to draw your attention to Trajan, 2,228 kills. Really great kills there for Trajan, but I bet a lot of those were the Carthage Sacred Band there. Obviously when they were exhausted, they obviously don't fight so good. The Germania general did good there, 1,526. My old army there, 1,633. Now look at Steve's kills. Now, as I say, exhausted, very tired or tired troops, they just don't fight very well. And you can see there that only 222 kills. Now that's why I wanted to show you this battle. New players to Rome Total War. So I don't mean to bang on about this, but if you've got exhausted or very tired troops, this is what can happen. The other day I was in the battle and I had to run over to the other flank. I said to my teammates, don't get involved in the battle because my troops are going to be very tired by the time I get over there. Unfortunately, the enemy attacked and they had to get engaged. By the time I got over there, my troops were exhausted. And because my teammates were being attacked by 4 armies, I had to throw my army in with exhausted troops. And after a very short time, they routed. Okay, so try not to fight if your troops are exhausted or very tired. There. As I say, Lando and Mars maybe didn't get the kills they wanted because, of course, they were isolated at the front. We managed to take them out. So as I say, I wanted to show this battle just to show you how ineffective tired and exhausted troops are, and if possible try to rest your troops if they are tired or exhausted, if you've got to run a distance before you put them into battle. Poor Steve there, he was a great blocker all the way through battle, and in the end he had to commit them against Spartans. Spartan commander saying bye for now.